What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, podcast number 17. Here with my guy, Brennan. How are you?
Oh, I don't. What just happened? What happened last week? What's been going on, man? I mean, we do it at one different time, and we get hit with all the latest football news. This is we got a lot to get into. It's so
Ba-
crazy.
Basically, we did a little summer break of like 5 days. What
Yeah,
happened? Messi happened to leave Barcelona. Like something that wasn't even expected. Not even Messi himself
right.
expected this to happen.
hmm
Because you saw
hmm
those tears. I would like to say that was one of the saddest football moments I had to see in my lifetime.
Yeah,
Watching
yeah,
Messi leave Barcelona, and people say there's no one club only. Like I I think Messi would have tried the one club only.
oh yeah,
Those tears were like, oh my days. He would 50%. It was told that he would reduce his salary to 50%, just like
right.
PK did. We're gonna talk more forwards, but like it's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
sad. Everything about this Messi transfer, like in terms of leaving, the way he left, like Xavi and Iniesta got a proper farewell.
right.
Messi didn't. This
No,
is so sad. Even in
it
terms
is.
of that,
It,
like, oh,
it is, and now today we're recording again on a Sunday, and we're watching a new Barcelona 11 take the field without him. And I guess people will be happy to know that PK scored the first goal, right, of the La Liga season. But yeah, absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I 100% thought Messi was going to remain, yeah, a Barcelona player. And it's even more bonkers to think that you have the former captain of Real Madrid and the former captain and legend, both in their own right, of Barcelona, now playing for the same damn team.
it's I just want to say this: PSG, you guys went bold. You got
Yeah,
Rems, you got Hakimi, you got Wijnaldum, you got
yeah,
Messi. Like, for crying out loud, Like, drop the mic. And I want to say this too. I was thinking about this all week. How must Guardiola feel with this? Guardiola must be fuming. And I'm not gonna say like the Jack Grealish wouldn't have happened,
right.
but if Guardiola had the opportunity of picking between Grealish and Messi,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Jack.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah,
oh,
I don't think there's any question there, and you could almost hear it in his voice when he was asked the question. Hey, hey, you know what? That's how we felt when we recorded the podcast on a Thursday and the news came out. Hey, sorry, Pep, that's the way the world of football works, right? Um,
true.
Unbelievable, and him taking the number 30, going back to his early years. How cool is that? So. It's funny. The shine might have like rubbed off a little bit, and the craziness of it all. But we're watching that PSG game yesterday, and here I am. They put the camera on the luxury box where Leo Messi is, and he's sitting next to Neymar. He's sitting next to Angel Di Maria, and I'm like, I think there's more money in that luxury box than there is on the pitch, right?
And did you see like that Messi was gonna get paid with cryptocurrency too?
I
Like
did see
the
that.
ways
I
that
don't.
PSG find to
Yeah.
get the wages of these players. Like PSG
Yeah.
hustling.
They
PSG
are.
hustling. Like it's that is a fact. But and I wanted to highlight this comment too because it's a player that me and you we love him.
Mhm.
And Messi straight away in the I think it was the first conversation he had as a PSG player. He
Mhm.
mentioned that he loves Verratti,
Yeah.
and that Barcelona tried to sign Verratti as a Xavi and Iniesta replacement.
Yeah.
So I love that because it
Yeah.
shows that Messi, when he's coming to PSG, he's coming with the clear intent of winning
Yeah.
and Champions League. He's thinking
Sure.
of that. Having Verratti and Wijnaldum, like I just loved when he spoke about that. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe it's mind games, those positive mind games where he's maybe fluffing somebody up like that, making their head feel bigger, making them ready to go. But that does work. We all know Verratti is phenomenal. I don't know if he's Xavi Iniesta phenomenal, but if Messi says it, I believe it, frankly. So,
But I have a
but
question. I have a question
yeah,
for you.
yeah,
Like, what do you think about Poch? Because now with Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, maybe he'll leave, but still, there's a huge like list of stars at PSG. The
yeah,
pressure that Pochettino has, in my opinion, is huge. Like, what
yes.
are your thoughts on that?
I think, and I actually did wrestle with this. I was thinking like, yeah, this is kind of a one and done type of situation, and then you kind of think of where they're all coming from. This is like a football manager save in that sense, because this is a lot of ego put in one place, right? And this is a massive change to the fabric of the team, even though it are two guys that personified the previous club that they were at, right? Sergio Ramos at Real Madrid. Hell, you could even say that Donnarumma at AC Milan, he became the talk of the town solely because of the crazy contract situation. But you have to fit all those pieces together. There's so much talent there. But we've seen a lot. I don't know if we've seen this type of talent on the field, but it takes time for this talent to gel, right? So I think this year, I don't think he's going to get a free pass per se if they go out in the round of 16 or something. But I think he's going to get at least a year and a half, unless, of course, or a season and a half, unless, of course, they absolutely stink it up somehow, some way. But I think Leo Messi has the ability to do it on a rainy night in Lorient, right? I think he can figure this out. So I don't know. I think if Poch, if he doesn't win the Champions League in the first year, if he gets to the final, gets to the semifinal, do you think he's going to go?
Yeah. The pressure. Like, how many years do we have with Messi?
Yeah.
How many years do we have with Poch?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, that's true.
It's like I feel like regardless of the year, if you don't win a Champions League with this team, you're out.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be the criteria.
Fair enough.
Because Liga, it's already a guarantee. It wasn't with Lille. Lille won it. Okay, Lille won it. And Nice, like that goes for the standouts. But like Pochettino has to win the Champions League with this team. It's regardless of Mbappe goes or stays. Like, you have to win it with the team, in my opinion. In my opinion. So let's talk about the perspective now of Barcelona. Okay, because how are Barcelona going to fill this gap, in your opinion? Like, what's going to happen?
Well, if you take a look at their bench for today's opener, and I've already forgotten who they're playing, but if you take a look at their bench, you see how they're going to do it in the interim, and that's kind of what we've all been wanting over the last few years. That's dig into La Masia. You got Gavi on the bench, right? You have Alejandro Balde. You've got like a bunch of guys that are these kind of keynotes of La Masia. So I hope that they do that in the interim. I mean, frankly, they don't really have the cash to do otherwise, right? So I don't know, but if they lean on their academy, they might not be winning La Liga anytime soon, but they're still very good enough to fight for European football, right? I mean,
if they concentrate, in my opinion, the midfield, they are so lucky in having Pedri now. Like, getting Pedri last year is the biggest blessing that Barcelona had in the recent years, because now any midfield that we're going to plan in the future with Barcelona, we're going to plan with De Jong there and with Pedri there. And the other piece, I don't know what it is. Gnat would have been perfect for any missing piece in midfield. If you complete it with Gnat, you're really well. But I feel like they have to do something there. They'll have to get a player there. Like Gabi, he's very young. I love Balde and Gabi. I even mentioned him in like one of our first podcasts, FC Wonderkid podcasts, that he was one to come up and play. I wasn't expecting him to play so soon. So, but I do feel like they'll maybe Gravenberch. My ideal player would be Gravenberch next to De Jong and next to Pedri. But they need to find a solution. And I want to highlight this again. Griezmann. It's now or never. Griezmann, there's no Messi. The spotlight is on Depay and Griezmann. If they don't make it happen...
Well, I don't know. I don't know. That's a lot to put on the shoulders of Memphis. I mean, Memphis was only at Lyon previously, so he hasn't necessarily done it yet. And Griezmann obviously hasn't looked like his. Well, I don't know. We don't need to necessarily. We're going to be able to talk about that as the season progresses.
It's
but
the wages. Like I
but
I say that because like what Griezmann is receiving is big
sure.
player money.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
and the fact of the matter is like Depay wouldn't have even been on the pitch today if they didn't confirm that PK pay cut. So it's just absolutely unbelievable that it's all gotten done under the wire, and that we're talking about this with a with a massive club like Barcelona, like Meshkeon club, right? It's
and
kind of
Aguero. Did you see what
yeah,
Aguero?
yeah, it's bizarre.
Like Aguero wanted to leave because he was
Yeah.
promised. And to be fair, I get you, Aguero. You were promised
Mhm.
that you were going to play with Messi, and
Yep.
now it's going to happen. And no, like
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And while Angel Di Maria is sitting there going like, hey, this is like the perfect summer for me. I actually play in a final and help my team win the Copa America and end a drought. And then I get to play with a guy that, I kind of carried on my back for that game. I'm just kidding. That was being, sarcastic for the Copa America final. But I mean, come on, Di Maria's having the best summer while Aguero's like, what the F did I just sign up for?
it's
Right?
true. It's true. It's true. Like Di Maria is one of those players. Like when I'll be speaking about underrated players that no one is in 20 years' time that no one highlights. Di Maria, Cavani. These are players that marked the generation, and like they're so underrated. And if you speak about the final, like in the
Yeah.
future, people won't focus maybe on Di Maria,
No.
and he was crucial.
Yeah.
That's so true.
It was
So
all
true.
about Messi getting his hardware. And but I'll tell you what, um it's a changing of the guard potentially. I mean, this really does feel, we've talked about for the last 4 or 5 years that, when Xavi and Iniesta and all them retired and went off and did their things, we talked about Barcelona essentially being dead in the water. It hung on for a little bit longer than we expected, but yeah, this is for real, the changing of the guard. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see where all this goes. Especially with the new talk of just having a salary cap and a luxury tax, kind of like American sports, right? Instead of the financial fair play moving forward, because you might still be able to get those teams that essentially say, okay, if the salary cap is 300 million, we have to pay this much into a pot that then gets put out into other clubs that take part of either European competitions.
Mhm.
That's going to be really interesting, because then you get a little bit of revenue sharing. And if you get PSG that says, hey, here's a $500 million worth of salary, we're 200 million over the or over the salary cap, then you're spreading that money elsewhere, right?
I can't see that happening so early.
We'll see.
That's
We'll see.
that's very hopeful, because like in the American system, you have the high schools and the universities are who provide the athletes. Who provide the athletes in football? That is the key. The development of these players are provided by the clubs. So there's a lot of chit chat towards that. Like that is kind of like a possibility, but I can't see it more than that right now. But
Yeah,
talking about Barcelona and a mess, we could talk about another Italian club, that is kind of a mess, right? Like, you want to guess it?
We'll go with a little club called Inter Milan. No, absolutely unreal. And this comes down to ownership and where their clubs, owners are located as well. There's been a crackdown there. COVID hit. But yes, it's been unbelievable. It started, probably the shot across the bow was what Antonio Conte basically saying like, oh, wait, I'm not going to get the type of control I deserve after bringing you the Scudetto, excuse me. And then, then the dominoes start falling. And it's sad to see that go. Opens up, we'll talk about Serie A in a little while. But yeah, a little somebody, Romelu Lukaku, winds up leaving. Like you called it. You said it. I was a little bit, I didn't expect it. I was a little surprised. But man, they were willing to pay. And
Like
yeah,
it's Abramovich. Abramovich wanted a striker 100%, so he had to
mhm,
get it, Brendan. Like he fills the needs. Like
yeah,
he's a billionaire that doesn't like to feel like he doesn't have something. He
yeah.
needs to have everything. Like
Yeah,
and a
and he
striker.
doesn't care. He doesn't care about the narrative that 10 years ago you signed the same exact player. Obviously, Greener, he was 18 then, I believe. But yeah, you're right. It's like, hey, I paid what 18 million for him 10 years ago, and I'm gonna pay 100 million more than that this time around. So
And yeah, you mentioned that you for sure you saw that clip. Like there was a clip that was shown that was shared by Anderlecht that it's Lukaku being shown Stamford Bridge with a guide, and he wanted to stay to look at the pitch more.
yeah,
Lukaku wanted to stay because he was visualizing it, and then the guy said, "Oh, you're dreaming there." He said, "No, no, mate, I'm not dreaming." Like he said it, "I'm not dreaming." No laugh, no anything. And
nope,
like you love those stories.
of
Like
course,
congratulations, Lukaku. Like you can, and there was even a interview that he revealed that he was going to sign up for Chelsea before United, but then there was problems with the paper. I don't know what happened, but he was going to Chelsea. He had a house in London
yeah,
already,
that's crazy. That's
and
crazy.
yeah, he went to United. So Chelsea, you got your striker, fantastic buy. But going back to Inter, I want to say
Yeah,
this though, like the
mhm,
moment that Conte left, you're right,
yeah,
the domino effect, like all the pieces started to go boom, 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 because Inter didn't have money, and
no,
Conte knew that. And the moment he knew that, he said, "I'm gonna bounce. My reputation is here,
mhm,
and Inter are gonna go down,
yeah,
down a bit because they can't reinvest, and these players are gonna leave." Like, but I like to highlight this. They did a good transfer. That was Dumfries. Like Hakimi leaving for 60 million, and you're
yep,
getting Dumfries for 12.
yeah,
That is good
yeah.
business.
It is
Okay,
good, very
and
good.
if it wasn't like because they had to sell, I would say like that's smart. And if you're going to reinvest that in another place on the pitch, I'm
Mhm.
like that's smart business though. That's
It
smart
is.
business.
It is, and they also went out and I think within like 3 days got Dzeko from Roma. So I know that's more of a stopgap, but it does show that they're willing to play this game here. If you're liquidating all of our best assets, we're going to find somebody that's going to allow us to be a solid team. Do I think they're in contention again? I don't know,
No.
but yeah, it's just whether or not they can keep Lautaro, right? Whether or not they can keep him. Um,
And I'd be Barella. I think the biggest player should be the most mad is Barella, because
yeah,
Barella can play in any place in the world.
that's
That's
true.
the truth. Barella has a spot in every team in the world.
Yeah,
And if he's looking at his team, he's seeing everybody leaving. I look at himself and say, "Whoa, I'm too good for this."
right.
Like I'd be worried Inter fans with Barella, but you guys didn't deserve that. Like you guys were champions, and then your coach leaves, and there's no investment from the board. Like
Right.
that is very sad. I
And
really
that,
feel
that
you guys.
comes that really does come down to who owns the club. I think it's Suning, right? And it's tough. It's tough, and it happens. It feels like it happens to Lille every year, whether they finish first or third. But absolutely unbelievable kind of.
Some clubs
That's
have to
like
do
that's like
that.
number in any normal off season. That would be like the top story, right? But this offseason, I don't know what the hell happened, but someone said, you know what, screw it. We're going to flood the market with crazy headlines. And that's exactly what just happened.
Yeah,
Um,
we're having headlines non-stop, and
I know.
with crazy headlines, maybe we're gonna have the craziest headline next week,
Could
and
be.
that might be in England
Mhm.
with Tottenham. Like they seem really good without Harry Kane, and 150 million. That's the talk right now. Man City are preparing a bid for Harry Kane of 150 million. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's egregious. It feels egregious. That's 200 and what 265 million between two players. You
Mm-hmm.
can't tell me even in this day and age, even it being a modern footballer type of situation, like you can't tell me that's that's ludicrous. And I get it. It might be a situation of Pep saying, "I need this, I want this."
Mm-hmm.
and them listening. But ultimately, it's just too much, way too much.
I'll be honest.
They do
I
have a
think it
striker
wasn't
problem.
Pep. No, they do fix a lot of problems by getting, especially Harry. Yeah, Harry Kane is the biggest problem, but
Sure.
Jack Grealish, he does fill the gap of marketing,
Yeah.
and Grealish is an image, an icon in England, and everybody sees Grealish as a good guy because he is a good guy. Like, he has a laugh with the lads. He drinks a bit here and there, like everyone. Like, he has a night out. He has fun. Like, Grealish is the people's person, and
Sure.
I think by City, because I remember when I was a kid seeing Van
Mhm.
Persie go to United.
Sure.
And that was a big boss move by United by getting the one of the best players in the league to United. And I feel like this is the same now with City. City, by signing the best players in the Premier League, they're saying we're the best club right now in the Premier League.
Yeah.
United, you're not the same. Liverpool, come on, you guys need to invest. And
Yeah.
no one comes close to us because the best players come to us. And that
Yeah.
is scary because we're changing our generation. Okay, the future generations of football might be City fans now. Arsenal fans, like, Arsenal is in a very tough situation now. And, like, clubs are doing bad decisions in terms of they have to sell, like we were talking about Inter. And Arsenal is letting go of Joey Willock, a
Mhm.
player, like, they need goals from midfield. And Joey Willock is leaving for 20 million.
Yeah.
Like,
More. Yeah.
it's
For
it's
Newcastle too. For Newcastle.
we got oh my days. Like,
It's tough. It really is. And no, I think you're right. I mean, it's a destination because you do believe, hey, we know they're going to win the Carabao Cup every year, right? So you get that piece of silverware. The Premier League, what, they've won 3 in the last 4, something like that, right? So okay, yeah, that's great, but they still don't have the elusive Champions League. So it kind of comes down to the fact that the Holy Grail is still out there. They need to grab it, and they want it done sooner rather than later. And they're going to spend 265 million plus. Now we've done this, on Twitter. We went through, and you went through last time in the podcast. We went through Chelsea's list of exits, right? And we know we're probably going to be adding another to that in the form of Tammy Abraham. But you can do the same thing with Manchester City, right? They have assets to send out the door because they basically hoard really good players, really good young players. They loan them out and then they sell them off, or they sell them off because, football is crazy inflation where, a $2 million player 5 years ago is now worth 15, even if it's the same damn player. But like they got 18 million for Angelino, right? I think that's the right number. So there was money in the door, but we still have over our heads what's going to happen with this financial fair play ruling, right? And I don't know if it's going to be negative or positive. I don't know what the deal is, but the fact of the matter is they're still looking at them. So you might as well go to town and buy the best player, right? But if they don't get the Champions League, right, it's over. It's done.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, Man City, Chelsea, like, they're doing phenomenal business with these players. And even Sancho, like, he left Man City to Dortmund for 8 million. Like, and if Sancho wouldn't have turned out the player that he is today, we would be saying, oh, they get money here and there, 8 million, like Sancho. You see?
Yeah.
So, Nemesha, I think he's going to leave too. So, and they're going to get a bit of money there too. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Nemecha actually did leave. I think he's at Wolfsburg he was another £8 million out the door. But they've got a couple. Like there's a young American. Well, he's 24 now, but Eric Palmer Brown, they'll probably get 4 or 5 million for. And it's not it doesn't all add up to 150 million. And hey, here's Harry Kane, but revenues add to that, and transfer revenues add to that. So it's seemingly good business, I suppose, but man, does it feel egregious when you're spending 150 million on one player?
It's true, and like this is actually perfect as it connects to my final transfer I want to talk about, and that is a player that is leaving Chelsea in a way that is a smart profit and it's a good buck, and that is Tammy Abraham is going to Roma. It's a fantastic fit in my opinion. I think Mourinho. Tu sabes, pá. He's getting a fantastic player with Tammy Abraham. Because Tammy Abraham, I think, I'm going to go bold here, he gets 20 goals in Serie A. Tammy Abraham gets 20 goals in Serie A. I love Tammy Abraham going to Serie A to this role.
Okay, so he's duking it out with Zlatan, until Zlatan's 45. That's
And they
crazy.
leave, and Zeku leaves Roma.
Yeah,
Okay, so Tammy Abraham is gonna be the guy.
he's
Okay,
the
in this
guy.
team, he's the guy. So it's 40 million. Another 40 million that Chelsea's gonna get. Good business again. Maybe they'll
Yeah,
invest in Conde with this.
sure.
Oh,
But most important there is I believe Chelsea also has a buyback clause, right? And I believe that's around 70 million or something like
80,
that.
80
But
million. It's 80
yeah,
million.
80 million euros. Okay, I'd say pounds. But yeah, Tammy's 21, right? 21, I think.
No, think he's
He might
older.
be 22,
Mm-hmm.
something
Or
like that.
23, 22, 22,
He's still
23.
he's still a young guy. We're talking about him. He's got double digit goals. This is a kid that Mourinho definitely called him, definitely talked to him, definitely said, "I believe in you," and he's going to put him front and center in Serie A. He's going to get playing game in, game out, and who knows? Maybe he'll be fighting Olivier Giroud at the top of the goal table in Serie A.
They
But
have a
it's
pretty
good business.
team. They have a pretty good team there, Roma. They got Matias Vinha too, like
Yeah.
to replace to replace Spinazzola injured.
Mhm. Yep.
So I don't know. I'm liking Roma for this season.
Yeah.
Let's see. We could talk afterwards about that. Do you have any?
I just want
transfer
all I
wires?
care about is Zaniolo, being healthy all season and getting a full season in him. But yeah, we can talk about that in a little bit. But man, that is a big one, and it's just the business that needs to get done if you're bringing in a guy like Lukaku. That's for sure.
It's true. Do you have any transfer you wanna talk about? Anything
You
you
know,
missed out?
I'm just happy that, hey, U.S. men's national team, right? I don't think this is the best place for them, but we had two U.S. players, Matthew Hoppe and Josh Sargent, both relegated from the Bundesliga, both seemingly the best players on either team. Josh Sargent has landed in the Premier League, and he's already made his first appearance, and he's with Norwich City, so he's probably going to be fighting relegation again. But hey, I'm just happy that we've got this market for young Americans that we've never seen before. This all pales in comparison to Lukaku, Messi, Abraham, and everybody. But hey, I felt like you got to give a shout out to the minnows of Norwich, trying to do what they can to stay up. And Christos Zolis, the Greek striker from yeah. And Sargent, that's good business in my opinion. And we'll see what happens. But that's it. We can move on from transfers.
That was a good ending. That's a good mention there. Zoli's in Norwich. He's gonna kill it. I'm really.
I hope
confident
so.
in him. Like
Yeah, he's a great player.
Very good. Okay,
Yeah.
so next topic here, we wanted to go bold because this is a big topic, and it's the weekend standouts. Before we start saying our weekend standouts, we want to hear what you guys think were the stars of the week. So go comment down below, like who you think was the best player this week in your opinion. Like Pogba with, I don't know. We're gonna mention now, but who do you think were the stars? Put in the comments down below, guys. So I mentioned it. Like the first star I gotta mention is Pogba. A poker of assists.
Yeah.
That is 100 million. Like Pogba, if you are doing that type of performances, you are valued at 100 million. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, unreal. It was absolutely unreal. And there was a chemistry there. I don't think we saw it much last season. Tell me if I'm wrong. But between Bruno and Pogba, just like this innate nature of knowing where they were going to be. And that first assist to Bruno, right? That little dink over the top that we all know if you've ever played football, that is virtually impossible most of the time to do, especially 9 times out of 10 or something. That just personified essentially what he was to that game. And like the interplay between where Greenwood was going and Pogba and Bruno.
Exactly.
Holy crap. I mean, that was awesome to watch.
The Pogba Bruno Fernandes link up is unbelievable. I was going to mention that. That's the first thing. Like those two, they're very comfortable playing with each other. And the reason why they're so comfortable is because they have a striker that balances out the way like they should play. Like if you see Greenwood is like that was the variable I wasn't expecting.
Right.
By United having a striker playing like Greenwood was playing last game, United could win the league.
Yeah.
Because Greenwood, like with this level of movement, it's not the finishing, because we knew that Greenwood was already the best finisher at Man United. But now we're seeing the off-ball movement that we were talking about. He has it. Cavani, all those lessons that he had from Cavani, we're starting to see it. Greenwood is slowly becoming a world-class star. Like, if he scores like the goals that I think he might score, more than 20 Premier League goals, that's it. He's in the talk.
That'd be great. Hold on. I need to ask you a question. Are you giving Ole any credit for that win?
Yeah, I do give credit to Ole on trusting Greenwood straight away instead of Cavani. Like if it were me, I would have put Cavani and he put Greenwood. And against Leeds, like against Bielsa, and we know that Bielsa plays very well against big teams. He likes to go neck and neck, and like I was very surprised. Like Greenwood was the balance. He allowed Bruno to go forwards. He allowed Bruno to have the space. Like it was extremely fun to watch. Like Man United, it's different. Like if I don't know, my thoughts can start changing now. Like this was, but I still feel like they need a midfield. If they got a midfielder or Harry Kane, like this is what I was saying. And I was seeing Gary Neville talk with a press conference that they did with like Gary Neville, Carragher, and Roy Keane, and he said it. Like 10 years ago, Man United would sign Harry Kane. Like it wouldn't be Man City, it would be Man United. And if Man United got Harry Kane, Brendan, wouldn't they win the league?
I mean, yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's all it's needed.
But I mean, a week ago we were also talking about Paul Pogba probably leaving the club, and now it's now he drops 4 assists, and we're all like, hey, he could provide 144 assists this year, and I don't know what the math is.
But Pogba might have left the club if Messi didn't go to PSG.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just what a game, and hey, Bruno, right? I thought it was hysterical. Harry Maguire on Instagram. Dropping in the comments section, grade three penalties, mate. Right? Because Bruno he scored a fair amount of penalties last year, but we all know those 3 goals he scored were not penalties. So that was pretty hysterical. And who knows? Maybe, it's. Oh. I don't know. The funny thing is we're not even 2 games into the year, right? And we're already second guessing our predictions. But hey, Manchester City was like 14th. Everton was atop the podium at some point, like in October of last year. So we all know things change, and they change very quickly here. But we like what we see. That United game was fun to watch. It took them a little while to break down Bielsa, but they did it. The other one I got to bring up, though, because if we're talking about ridiculous performances, and this seems to be more often than not that we're doing this, but Erling Haaland, man, are you serious? 2 goals, 3 assists. I think he's got there's been 5 8 goals. Or 9, 5 goals right in the first 2 games of the year. I mean, Dortmund, it was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable, and. I mean, with his combination of speed, size, skill, ability to learn and work his ass off, I mean, if he's on a certain day, like he's just unstoppable, right? And I was going to tie this into your favorite show, Attack on Titan. I couldn't really figure it out, but he kind of reminds me of some sort of a Titan. Is there like an invincible Titan? I don't know, right? But I have to steal something from Fabrizio Romano, because he went all Statman Dave on us. In 574 days, he's played 61 matches for Dortmund, and he's scored 62 goals and has 18 assists. And he's already got 5 goals, 3 assists in 2 games this season. I don't give a crap if he was playing an 8th tier squad. That is still real for a kid to do,
Brennan,
right?
this is Raiola next summer.
Yeah.
This is Raiola. No pressure. No pressure. Just with the phone calls.
Yep.
Just accepting calls from Papa Perez, Abramovich, beam,
Yep.
beam, beam, the Glazers. Come
Yep.
on. No marketing needed with Haaland. Like, that's it. Like, 5 goals, 2 games, 3 assists. Striker. That is... How'd you do it, Haaland? Like, we're getting to this to the point that we're asking, how is it possible? Like, and now we start to get why, like, 130 million Chelsea were willing to pay it. Like, it's they paid it for Lukaku, but Dortmund weren't having it. But you mentioned it. Like, there's a very good chemistry now. Marco Rose might make something happen there.
It might.
Do you think like this Gio Reyna, this abundance of talent at Dortmund, can they win the Bundesliga?
I'm telling you, I mean, with a Marco Reus behind them, you've got the perfect blend of young, like, guys that are just going to do anything they can to win, and they're going to celebrate every goal like it's the last goal they'll ever score. And then you've gotten a veteran leadership. Obviously, the defense there is still a question mark. But hey, if you score 5 goals a game, who the hell cares, right?
Like, the way I see things is, I think they have the best player in the Bundesliga, Erling Haaland. And I know Lewandowski's in the league, but I'm saying it. Haaland, this season, I feel like Haaland wants and needs to have more goals than Lewandowski. Because if he's going to leave the Bundesliga, that we all know Haaland is going to leave the Bundesliga at the end of this season, he's going to leave as the top goal scorer. I'm going to go bold. I think Haaland is going to end up in front of Lewandowski in the goal scoring list in the Bundesliga.
Hey, do you think he can get the amount he got last year, the 40 plus?
Yeah, I think that's a repetition, and it's going to be a repetition. Because this is how I see things. When I was a kid, like, they were kids too, and they were idolizing Ronaldo and Messi. And we live in a society now so stats-driven. Like, you in the States, like, it's stats-driven 100%. And football, we're looking more and more to the numbers. And Haaland too. Like, I'm sure he knows how many goals Ronaldo has. Like, that's the expectations that he has. And the team, Raiola, like, he must be pumping this kid every day mentally. Like, he must be an animal. Like, Erling Haaland, my respect, because you're breaking records. You're breaking records, mate. Like, like, I wanted to highlight, like, my second weekend standout player. Like, Pogba was first, and second, I'm gonna put Eden Hazard, because I think Eden Hazard is finally gonna be the player that we were expecting him to be at Real Madrid. Because what I saw yesterday was Haaland very confident, and I feel like he was very confident because physically he was in shape. Like, you could see he was doing what he wanted to do. Everything was flowing, and the connection with Benzema, Eden Hazard with Benzema, that works out so well. Like, if they get Mbappe, They have a proper team there, because Casemiro's there. Valverde was really good. Alaba, this is an underrated move this summer. A lot of people talk about Varane to Man United, but no one talks about Alaba to Real Madrid.
Yeah,
like, Alaba is a proper signing for Real Madrid, and Courtois still there. Like, they have a very good team overall.
Yeah, Cruz. I mean, it is a very good team. It's just what was that? The front three was Benzema.
But
Hazard and Gareth Bale
yesterday.
Who did?
It was Valverde, Casemiro, and Modric. So,
but Bale started, right? Bale did.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Imagine if they win La Liga with guys that they literally were chanting to, like, leave the club last year, right? That would be pretty interesting. But that's a good shout. I didn't actually get to see any of that Real Madrid game, so
I saw it all, and I wanted to mention this too, like at Real Madrid, Vinicius Junior. He's 21, and Rodrigo is 20. I don't know how many more years they'll have at Real Madrid, but if they're going to show that they want to stay, it's this year. Like, Vinicius at 21, I remember it wasn't Messi won the Ballon d'Or at 21 for Barcelona. Like, it's now. That's the moment. Like, it's the moment. Like, Vinicius and Rodrigo, it's the moment now to shine.
100 million between the two of them, right? 100
It's
million.
true. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it might be 100 million. And what's interesting is we're talking about Mbappe going to Real Madrid. Like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna finance Mbappe to Real Madrid, pieces will have to leave.
Sure.
And if you are not performing at the level like Real Madrid are expecting you to,
Mhm.
Vinicius, bye bye. Rodrigo,
Yeah.
bye bye. Não dá, meu. It can happen. It can happen. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, that'll be a fun. I mean, La Liga is seemingly wide open this year. It really is, and that'll be fun to watch there. Obviously, Barcelona's playing right now, but all right, my next one, we have to go back. We'll go back to the Premier League. Chelsea, right? Hey, that was a great team performance. It was good to see Christian Pulisic get on the score sheet, but I think we have to take a look at Trevor Chalobah, right? Center back. I believe he can also play on. Yeah. Anyway, that goal he scored, I think it was to put him up 3-0, probably like the 55th. It was a screamer, pretty awesome. But yeah, it was just absolutely cool. But what I really loved it was very Reece James like, which is hysterical, right? Because that's essentially who he was there. But for all the defensive, say, Cobham Academy products that are leaving Stamford Bridge right now, right? You still got Tuchel putting in Chalobah and entrusting him and building him up during the preseason in order to get this done. And did you see how much it meant to him? Right? When he scored that goal, he went down. It looked like he broke out in the tears. They were all running over to him. I think Christian Pulisic was more happy that he scored the goal than actually Chalobah did. But you just saw how much it meant to the kid, and that a lot of these kids that get a chance to play for this club, with how good and successful that Chelsea Academy is, this is a dream come true, and they will fight for that badge. So that was really cool to see, and we'll see if he can replicate it in the future, or whether or not this emergence makes a Jules Koundé move less likely. I think they'll still try and get him, but maybe it makes it less likely, right?
Fantastic shout out there, because Chalobah, I didn't know if you saw it, but like, he has tweets saying that he was gonna make it one day, like, "Mom, you're gonna see me one day make it," that type. And seeing a player that, as Lukaku did, Chalobah did speak to existence to the point he's at now, and that deserves a lot of recognition, because, like, the truth is, Tuchel, I think that was an offer for Chalobah of 20 to 30 million. I can't remember the club. I think it was a German club, and Tuchel said no. No can do. It was 20 million from an so Tuchel, again, every decision now that Tuchel does is like he touches gold. It becomes gold. Like Chalobah, Mark Guéhi leaves, Tomori leaves, Chalobah stays, and Chalobah looks like the one that he's gonna rise to that position. So really good shout out there. Like, it's
and against Mark Guéhi too, right? Who was starting for Crystal Palace, so that must have felt.
So it's fitting. So my last standout weekend standout is a Portuguese guy, and I did mention him last podcast, and I'm gonna mention him again because what I saw this weekend was Braga Sporting again, and this match, like, it's a league match, and we're seeing that Porto and Benfica, they're not going to lose points very easily. It's going to be a three-man race, like this Portuguese league. And seeing Pot is my standout player this weekend, because he's got 3 goals in 2 games to Sporting. And I really believe that Pot is going to leave Sporting for a huge fee, because he's showing signs of not being just another player, He's the type of player, like, that is worth spending to, and that's what I love about Ruben. The players that Ruben Amorim develops, they all seem to have a lot of tactical knowledge given by him. And Pot has loads of awareness. He knows where to be on the pitch. Like, because he played with João Mário, and João Mário's not there now. Mateus Nunes is there. And Pot's playing extremely well. Fantastic movement. Good finishing. Complete player. So, watch out, guys. Pot. Pedro Gonçalves.
You put up
I
Yeah,
just
you
wanted
put
to
up Bruno
mention this.
numbers.
It's
Sorry.
crazy that Bot didn't even get 5 minutes to play for
Right.
Portugal in the last Euros. He's the
Yeah.
type of player that could have an impact, a positive impact in the game. So, guys, expect to see him. He's quality, man.
I mean, you put up Bruno numbers, you probably get a Bruno transfer, right? So that's pretty impressive and definitely a good shout out. Well, then my last one, and I won't spend too much time, but I'm going to go a little homer here. We've all been talking. Gio Reyna got his first goal. Christian Pulisic got his first goal. But a Gio Reyna friend, one of his best friends actually, is a kid named Joe Scally, and he left New York City FC a couple years ago. Not even a couple years ago. He only was able to make the transfer, I think, when he turned 18 to Gladbach. And, some injuries to their flank players, plus a really, really solid preseason. And little does he know, he probably knew the whole time, but he's starting the DFB Pokal first game, the cup game, and then he starts against Bayern. Okay. Starts against Bayern Munich. His first ever Bundesliga game. He's 18 years old. He starts on the left side as a left back, even though he's a right back by trade. And he was one of the better players on the field for them. And actually, Leroy Sané, I mean, he didn't pocket Leroy Sané, but he certainly kept him quiet. Okay. And I'm telling you, this kid, there's more of these kids. You and I have talked about this before. This is just scraping the surface. It's like, some unpolished diamonds that if you get the right setting, there are more Joe Scallies out there. And yeah, there's a whole long season ahead. But he has really shown himself well to the Bundesliga. And that's going to be really, really cool moving forward to watch him. So Joe Scally's my last one, although there's so many more. But we got to move on.
You got to move on. Do you want to go Serie A instead of talking about okay. So Serie A, the next topic is going to be Serie A Wonderkids. So just like the weekend standout, if you guys have Serie A Wonderkids that are ballers, go to the comment section and go and smash all the names that you have. We're going to answer and we're going to have a good chat about those names because having a good chat, that's what we're here for. Mm-hmm. So I want to what this topic is going to be the Serie A Wonderkids. And being Serie A Wonderkids, I wanted to start with a proper Wonderkid. And this player might be, I don't even know if he's going to play straight away. But you know where I'm going to. And this is Luca Romero. That went from he's the youngest player to ever play in La Liga with 15 years old for Mallorca. He now went to Lazio. And I am dying to see what's their plan with him. Because he was being told that I know mini Messi, next Messi. But the truth is, the record stands, and he's the youngest player to play in La Liga. And he's extremely technically gifted. And it's interesting that he went to Lazio. So I wanted to start with a proper Wonderkid here. And Luca Romero.
Yeah, he's good. He's a small guy. And incredibly technical, and fearless, and basically
mullet.
and a phenomenal mullet too. I mean, hey, party, what is it? No, business in the front, party in the back, right? That's what it's called. But I'm going to go on the opposite end, right? Because you got him on right wing for them. They've got Lazio if they can develop them properly. They've got their wings locked down for years to come. In the form of Luca Romero on the right, and then on the left side is a Spaniard, Raul Moro. Okay, and he's basically like the mirror image on the other side of Romero. And Raul Moro, I mean, Maurizio Sarri has given him quite a few chances this preseason. I think you're going to actually see him kind of worked into the 11. I don't think he's going to start, but I love that he's willing to give him his chances, and he has definitely taken them and shown kind of silky skills. I mean, he's like pacey, and again, it's Luca Romero on the left side. It's really, really fun to see. I don't know how much they're going to play early on, but you can imagine as the season gets stretched, I think they're going to be they're going to get plenty of chances there. So that's my first two. I love that both came from Lazio. When I thought both of us were going to talk about the same people. but we didn't. Look at that.
Yeah, you see, gotta highlight those wonder kids.
That's funny.
My second highlight here is a player that I feel like is gonna work out very well where he's at, and I'm going for a Roma player, and that is first I'll mention Zaniol because
Okay.
guess who's back? Zaniol,
Yeah.
and Zaniolo is back with Mourinho, so that is something to look forward to, and it might work out very well. But the player
Okay.
that I'm very hopeful with Mourinho is
Mhm.
Ibanez because he's a
Ah.
Brazilian center back, and you know defensive tactics, the defenders. Mourinho loves them, and if he's Brazilian, like it's the same language. So
Mhm.
actually, he's quality. Okay, from his style of play too. Like he's a rough player. He's the one that can pass the play very well. Like he's the type of player that Mourinho would enjoy to play with. And the fact that he's Brazilian, like I feel like that's going to be very helpful too. The language barrier is just going to be on point. So I'm very hopeful to see what happens with Roma with Ibanez. That
Yeah,
would be one of the wonder kids to watch.
he's a good one, and I know. I mean, he never really got the chance at Atalanta, but that's kind of
Mhm.
funny because who knows? Maybe he could have turned into who Christian Romero is now, but he's now at Spurs. But anyway, I'm going to stay on the AS Roma topic, stay on the Jose Mourinho topic,
Mhm.
because this kid has probably one of the best stories out of all the guys we're going to talk about, and that's Abrima Darbo, right? And he 2 years ago, he was kind of just finding out that there are opportunities in the footballing world for him. Okay, I mean he was a migrant from Gambia and made his way over and went through horrors, unspeakable horrors, to get here. Here, as in not the United States, but to Italy. And before you know it, he's having a breakout half season for Roma at the end of the year last year, and he's kind of he's a dictates play. He's strong. He's pacey. He sends his whole salary basically back to his family in Gambia because he had to separate from his family to get there.
Mhm.
But I think you're going to see him as that engine of the midfield, and get more time than we probably think heading in again as the season progresses. But I mean, come on, if you can't root for the success for this kid, then what are we in this for,
What a
right?
story, man.
But he's awesome, absolutely awesome to watch. I mean, and his football matches his personality. So we'll see what happens.
What a story there. Like it's always good to see someone giving back to who needs, and
Yeah.
actually like having it like
Mhm.
personally. So it's fantastic mention there. I'm gonna mention like I thought you were gonna lead up to this player. And I was saying he's gonna lead up to my pick. Then it was the Atalanta talk. Like someone
Ah,
went Atalanta at center back, and that was Demiral. And I
yeah.
was quite surprised because if you'd spoken to me a year ago, I thought that Demiral was going to be one of the key pieces at
Mm-hmm.
Juventus,
Mm-hmm.
being the future of Turkey, and he was being quality next to the elite. So I was quite surprised, but come on, Atalanta, good business. Like you're selling
Yeah.
Romero, and you're replacing with a player that already knows the level that you
Sure.
should be at. Okay, and maybe just needed a bit more confidence in the defense side. It could be egos because the
Yeah.
truth is that Juve defense. Who talks there? It's Bonucci and Chiellini. Like even
Yeah.
the leaked there. Like even the leaked knows those two are the ones. They're the bosses. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe Demiral, he would be the type of player that he'd like to have his spot, and I don't know. I'm here speculating a bit, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it could be a match made in heaven. Demiral at Atalanta. I think it can work out very well.
That's
So
yeah,
yeah.
that's a very good shout, and I think that is a awesome place for him to develop, as we've seen, and if he can go the route of Romero in terms of come back after a very solid year for Atalanta, who knows? Maybe he's right next to De Ligt once Benucci and why am I forgetting his name? Goodness, help me out. Chiellini actually hang their boots up, right? That's a good one. But my next one is, I mean, I think we just have to say him because he's still only 21 years old. That's Dusan Vlahovic, right? First off, how the hell is he still in this league, right? how the hell is he still playing for Fiorentina? I shouldn't say in this league, because I'm more surprised that after his 21 goal season last year,
Yeah,
right?
in
That
Serie A, which
yeah,
is
that it's just an unbelievable stat, and especially for a team that had a pretty subpar year last year. And now, it's only been a Coppa Italia game, but yeah, I believe he had a hat trick. At the least, he had 2 goals, and he's got this little partnership going on that kind of reminds me of a Chiesa Vlahovic type of partnership at Fiorentina, where this could work out with Nicolas Gonzalez, who came from the Bundesliga. Um, and this kid could wind up going another 20 goals this year if somebody doesn't poach him first. I don't know how he's still a Fiorentina player, though. I mean, do you?
I think he might move though. We called it. This is
Yeah,
if you guys go see the rebuild on our YouTube channel, the Tottenham rebuild. We said that Dusan Vlahovic should go to Tottenham because we were already thinking Kane was leaving. So like he's
yeah,
the perfect replacement, and he keeps on proving us right by
yeah.
scoring more goals. So Dusan Vlahovic, guys, remember the name?
So good.
Yeah, exactly. I like to mention 2 players that like they're common names, but I feel like Brahim Diaz, okay, is the
Mm-hmm.
first one.
Yep.
Because now it's not a loan move; it's a permanent move. So
Yeah.
I'm expecting to see a star there because he's got the star environment with him now at AC Milan, and he's gonna be a starter. And they have Champions League football, and now they have to provide a bare minimum of quality football. And
Mhm.
Brahim Diaz, I think, guarantees that. But I'm going to talk about a player that disappointed me a bit because I was a big fan of him last year, and that was Tonali.
Yeah.
Because I thought Tonali was gonna assume the Pirlo type role. It's not just
Hmm.
it's not just the hair, but it's the quality of play. And at
Right.
Brescia, Tonali was that type of player. The pinpoint passes were there. The long shots when he felt comfortable, he'd do it and he'd get some in. And
Yeah.
with AC Milan, it just looks like the confidence isn't there. So I really hope we see a different Tonali this season. And I'm gonna be watching him. So yeah, I'm gonna recommend him Wonderkids to watch definitely.
Yeah, and I think I think you're gonna get your answer early on, because I think Franck Kessié is out for the next month or so with
Mhm.
an injury. So you have Franck Kessié, and then I believe the African Cup of Nations
Mhm.
is early 2022.
Mhm.
So you're gonna see. I think that gets Kessié out again, and Ismail Benacer, right? I think
Mhm.
he'll be leaving as well.
Yep.
So hey, Sandro Tonali is going to get his chances this year, but I'm with you. I mean, we both would talk about him, and when he was with Brescia, he'd have some phenomenal games that you were just like, oh man, this kid is like the regista for the future. It's going to be insane. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how much bringing in like a Yassine Adli uh,
Mhm.
is going to affect his play, but who knows? We'll see.
That's a good buy.
But
That's a good
yeah,
buy.
it is. It is, if they can do it. All right. Well, I don't know what number we're on here, but I have a feeling that if you don't say it, you're definitely going to piggyback on me saying it, right? But I have to say it because hey, I was a big Danish stan during the Euros, as I don't know how people couldn't be. But
Sure.
yeah, when Christian Eriksen went down, they called upon another certain Danish, midfielder slash winger, Mikkel Damsgaard, and God, man, he won people over. He was so good, so fearless. Occasionally dribbled too much, but hey, I love that about him. And apparently can hit a damn good free kick. But him at Sampdoria, I don't think. I think he needs to level up some. But hopefully they're going to give him his chance to kind of run the show this year. And I think we're going to see that. But we obviously, you got to watch him, because he should be able to carry that momentum over. And yeah, I'd expect no less, right?
Personally, before the Euros, I didn't know a lot about him, and yeah, see, like Damsgaard, yeah, he dribbled a bit too much, but that's what he had about him, that ferocity, that not being scared to out dribble you. Like it's a scary thing for fullbacks to have such a dribbler like him. But Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic pick there. I knew you were gonna shout him out. I'll be honest. I was like, when is he gonna shout out Damsgaard? Like you were the guy who said that Denmark was gonna win the Euros. So you need
Finalist.
finalist.
Finalist. I got close. I got close.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah.
But do you wanna get a prediction now for Serie A? 'Cause
Yeah.
we said a bunch of wonder kids. Do you have a prediction now for Serie A?
Yeah, and the funny thing is none of these Wonder Kids actually came from the club that I'm gonna pick. But yeah, if it weren't for the exit door being wide open for Inter Milan, right? And AC Milan it also doesn't seem, I don't know. Everything is around Juventus for me. McKennie, another year there, he's going to play a big part. I believe Alvaro Morata is going to play a big role up front for them. I like Chiesa coming off winning the Euros. Dejan Kulusevski. I mean, I just really like this core that they have, and I think Juventus. Allegri's a winner, or he's coming in to win.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen, and I think it's going to be Juventus right back where they left off previous to the little Inter hiccup, and I think they're going to be winning the Scudetto.
I'm with you 100%. Like the moment I saw that Chiesa Euro, I said, "Nah, this is a wrap." They have the league,
Yeah.
Chiesa, Ronaldo, Bonucci, Chiellini. Não dá. Like it's impossible not to win with this team, and they got the coach with Allegri. So, yeah, and Cristiano. Like, how embarrassing would it be not to win the league for Cristiano Ronaldo? Like, it would be very embarrassing for him not to win Serie A this season.
Before he packs up and goes to PSG, right?
That we called it before we saw Ash doing that news. I did say that Mbappe is going to Real and Ronaldo was going to PSG. And now that Messi there, 100% that's going to happen. Now that Messi's there, now I'm really confident it's going to happen. Because the amount of shirts that PSG sells with those two there, it's historic. But that's another talk there. But yeah, that's we got to win Serie A. Any talk on FIFA? Like, it's the FIFA rankings were out. Like, did you see that?
Yeah, of course. You know me. We've ever since that fateful day in Trinidad and Tobago, watching the U.S. men's national team not qualify for the World Cup, we knew it was going to be a long road ahead. I'm talking as if I'm like the one playing the games, and I'm clearly not. But man, it was a tough day, and they've clawed their way back. They're in the top 10, the U.S. men's national team. And that's because, they had a B team, B- team win the Gold Cup. They won the CONCACAF Nations League. I don't think any of them are looking at this FIFA ranking and saying, hey, we're 10th in the world. We could crush Germany. We know that that's probably not the case. But this just is kind of a, even if it's like point-based or algorithm-based, like this is just that, hey, there is something happening on this side of the world. And in a nation that is very much not considered a footballing nation, it is starting to get an identity, and it's still early games here, right? But I'll tell you what, I wake up, it's kind of like, steered away from this over the years, but I wake up and Sports Center is always on, right? That's where you used to get your highlights if you're watching regular old television. But for the first time, I saw, it wasn't led, right? It didn't lead the program, but Christian Pulisic's goal, Gio Reyna's goal, they showed the other highlights of a couple other big European games. Yeah. The fact that that's happening in the United States, okay, that's a small sample size, but we're starting somewhere. And the rankings going to 10th or going to 9th, being in the top 10. Do I actually believe it? No, not yet. We have a long way to go. But man, this World Cup qualifying campaign is so important for everybody, right? But it's all going to be put in this tiny little, time frame, and the fixtures are just going to be flying, and we're going to find out whether or not this was all BS or it's the real deal, and the U.S. is somebody to be watched in the near future. So,
I don't know, perfect though. Like the what you said there about culturally. Like
Mhm.
the football or soccer there in the U.S. starting to be shown, and ESPN, Sports Center, all that. That shows like that's as a European fan, like it's fantastic to hear that because
Yeah.
that means like another market is emerging for football.
Yeah.
And the amount of talent that you guys are stacking so much talent, and it's all at the same time. Like it's every U.S. player. You're making history, man. You're making an impact, and it's fantastic to watch. But
Yeah.
you're right there. This FIFA 10 ranking is complete bogus, if you ask me.
Yeah, it
Like,
is.
if you see Germany, I have Germany here. I got Denmark was 11th, okay,
Yeah.
and I feel like Mexico being ninth, and Denmark that had one of the best runs in recent history in the Euros. Come on,
Mhm.
wouldn't you put them in the top 10?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uruguay, Colombia, and the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Okay, so all these nations were the ones snubbed of that top 10 that I managed to list out, and I wanted to say it.
Yeah.
Uh,
It,
because it
it, it,
shows that it's a point system, but it's not really like number one. It's France. It's not Belgium.
yeah.
You know, yeah. In my opinion, like for me,
Right.
the best team in the world is France. It's not Belgium. And the
Right.
truth is, maybe Belgium won't win anything. You okay?
Mhm.
Because the big competition that we're leading up to is the World Cup, right? Next
Mhm.
year.
Mhm.
And the truth is, if De Bruyne, Lukaku, if these guys don't win the World Cup, their legacy is tarnished. Because these guys were like number one in the FIFA rankings for how many years?
Yeah.
How many years is Belgium being number one in these FIFA rankings?
Yeah. I bet Belgium is wishing they could spend 150 million on a striker. That's actually a joke because Lukaku's there. I get that, but it's
That was
just
a
I
good
still can't wrap my head around it. But no, yeah, and this World Cup qualifying is going to be very different than in years past. So we're going to find just how bogus these rankings are. And guess what? They'll continue to rank them because you have to have something that creates these like coefficients that lead to seedings and all that crap. So I get it. I get it. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, the only thing that's been really nice to see on my end is that, like you said, a new market is emerging. People are getting hip to it, even though it's never the shine is never going to kind of get polished off of
Mhm.
watching a player that I've watched domestically, and I bet you feel the same way about players you've seen come up through, Casapia and others. But over here, watching them come up like the Philadelphia Union boys, seeing for the first time a Mark McKenzie and a Brendan Aronson go to Genk in Belgium and to Red Bull Salzburg and do well. I mean, that just makes you brim with pride. And then to see them in the Nations League game uh, and doing well, you're like, wow, this is new. Because you're right. It used to be you draft them from college and they're 22 by the time they get out, right?
Mhm.
This is not. This is very different. Brendan Aronson joined the club like when he was 10 or 11, right? And this is very much a Euro style of doing things and a
Exactly.
focus on fundamentals. So we're just scraping the surface here. No, I'm not going to be some guy that ever is going to think that the U.S. is going to be a World Cup favorite anytime soon. But
Mm.
man, are we putting the right pieces in place to be good for many years to come?
I'll
We'll
be
see.
honest. Like, is 2026 is going to be in U.S. soil, right?
Yes.
I think you're candidates.
Uh,
I
don't do
think
this to me.
I think like in 5 years' time,
Yeah.
if Pulisic, Giurena,
Yeah.
Dest, McKennie, Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson, Daryl Dike, Josh Sargent, these are so many talents. Like
Yeah.
if they get 9 proper players,
Yeah.
I think you can make it happen. Because
Yeah.
this is what I love about the U.S. team. And I know I'm hyping them up. I'm going bold by saying this, okay? That the U.S. are contenders if all these talents become like fantastic players.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's what makes the U.S. special. It's the chemistry between them. It's the banter between them.
Yeah.
It's how comfortable they are with each other. Like I'll
Sure.
be honest, I don't know if every national team have that bond between them because I think the fact they're underdogs makes them be close together.
Sure.
you know? And I feel like they felt that all their life because truth is, Portugal's going to play US. Spain's going to play US. They're going to say, os americanos. Does it? You see, you know what I mean? There was
I did.
now it's changing because the US beat France, right? Wasn't it 3-2 in the Under-20 World Cup? Like there's a change now of what's happening in the world of football. So I wanted to mention this. It's
Well, don't give me a platform for too long because I will pump them up too much. But I've said this before, and you and I have said it offline, and we've said it on here too. That I think this is just the scraping of the surface when it comes to the awakening of an infrastructure, right? That was not there. It wasn't there. It's taken 20 plus years since the founding of MLS. And getting away from this pay to play, everybody like paying out the wazoo just to get their kids to practice so that they can beat a team 14 zip, right? This is very different. These are players that have grown up with a ball attached to their foot, right? And if you create that underdog feeling, because going to Europe and making it in Europe is still the thing to do and will be for a very long time. You have an American going in there and they want to change the perception of the American player. I'm sure they don't wake up in the morning and go, "Hey, I need to change the perception of an American player." But that's a very big deal.
The American dream.
It's the American dream, the American spirit. Yeah. No, it is a it is essentially they are outsiders and they need to prove themselves, and it's a chip on their shoulder that they need to prove, and that's important. And hopefully it never goes away because frankly I think it makes our team a better team, but we'll see.
You guys are extremely patriotic guys, that's for sure.
Well, too patriotic sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. Here we got the podcast number 17 wrapped up. If you guys enjoy it, please go comment down below and go say, I've listened to it. I went bold. I listened to this podcast. So you'll make sure we know that you listened to it. And we're going to comment back. Don't worry. And Absolutely. If you could subscribe too, that'd be a huge help. And yeah, guys, it was overall really good talk. Do you have any final thoughts, Brendan?
Nah, just all the best to everybody that's been listening and finding us on TikTok. And we've got fun stuff to come. And we really, really hope you continue on this ride with us.
We might go bold with these ones, guys. So let's see.
We'll see.
It was nice having you guys. See you next time.